During the formative years of the American Quarter Horse Association, few could sit down and tell you exactly what an American Quarter Horse was. Had a heavy influence of horses like Thoroughbred, Standardbred, Morgan, and Arab. But there's one thing for certain that most folks would tell you. They dang sure weren't Percherons. In 1923, along the Canadian breaks of the Texas Panhandle, a rancher with 35 to 40 mares would periodically bred 5 or 6 of those mares to a small Percheron stallion. That rancher's name? John Jackson Hancock. As a yearling, the brown colt would be moved to Nacona, Texas, where John's son Joe lived. Joe had a small operation. He ran a few ranch horses and had no need for a stallion. Like any good horseman with no need for a stallion, it was time to call the vet. Joe would put hobbles on the colt, waiting for the vet to arrive. Jim Kingeon Smith was the vet that day, and he took one look at the hobbled colt. He said, "Joe, I've cut a lot of horses, and I'm fixing to cut another one, but damn, this is a hell of a horse." Joe looked down, then looked up at the colt, kicked the dirt a little bit, and thought it over for a minute. He then looked at Jim and said, "You know what, Jim? Let's just take those hobbles off." After using the young horse on cows for a little bit, the owner thought, well, maybe he'd be a pretty good racehorse. He's got some speed. So off to Bird Ogles in Oklahoma for a little race training. And after a while, the young horse was entered into a county fair match race. Bird would walk into the secretary's office that day, fill out the paperwork, all except for a name. And when the secretary told him, "You've got to put a name," he said the horse didn't have a name, but he belonged to a guy named Hancock. Hell, just call him Joe Hancock. And after what was said to be a good race career, as we have no documentation to back it up, he would be sold to George Ogles, that's Bird's son, for $1,000 in Depression-era money. That is a huge sum. That's around $20,000 in 2022. George would immediately turn around and sell the horse for $2,000 to Tom Burnett. And though the Burnett family has a rich history, to say the least, with horses, they're better known for something else. You see, Tom was the son of Samuel Burnett, and upon Samuel's death, Tom would inherit a quarter of his father's ranch, then go on to acquire many other properties and ranches that would fall under the Burnett Triangle Ranch. And if the Burnett Triangle Ranch doesn't ring a bell, well, maybe his dad's ranch will. Because you see, his dad, at the age of 19, had over 1,100 steers, all wearing the brand 4.6s. By the time the American Quarter Horse Association was founded in 1940, Joe Hancock was busy siring horses for the 4.6s ranch. He sired 7 foals that earned race registers of merit with the American Quarter Horse Association. He'd also sired 2 foals that earned their performance register of merit with the AQHA. But probably what he's best known for is producing nothing but sheer rock-crushing foals that make fine ranch horses. Joe Hancock would die in 1943, and in 1992 he'd be inducted into the American Quarter Horse Hall of Fame. In an article from 2007 in Western Horseman, Joe Hancock would be named as number 3 on their list of top 10 ranch horse bloodlines of all time. Had to do a little headgear change and show off my 4.6s hat, which I got in Lexington, Kentucky at the Road to the Horse, where I met the cowboys and cowgirls of the 4.6s ranch. They brought their horses in for the competition there. A lot can be said for the Hancock line of horses. Some love them, some hate them, some's never even been around them. But those that love them will tell you this: they'll go all day. They'll rock crush high desert, mountain, swamp, doesn't matter. Hancocks just go, and they're cow-eating machines.